Start with a provocative question. Why do some people win again and again while others collapse under pressure? Expose the truth. Success isn't about luck or talent, but mindset. Explain how every human is born with both a winning and a losing voice inside. The losing mind seeks comfort. The winning mind seeks growth. The battle begins each morning in silence. Between excuses and discipline, build emotional weight by showing that most people lose not because they can't win, but because they never learn how to command their inner voice. End by promising the audience they will learn how to develop a mind that never breaks, never doubts, and always finds a way. Section 2. The psychology of resilience. Introduce the foundation of a winning mind, resilience. Use psychology-backed concepts like neuroplasticity and emotional regulation to explain how the brain adapts under challenge. Show that mental strength isn't genetic, it's trained through adversity. Inspire belief that pain, failure, and obstacles are not enemies, they are the gym of the mind. The more the mind is tested, the stronger it becomes. Build emotional power by turning suffering into a symbol of inner evolution. End by declaring, a winning mind is not built in comfort, it's built in chaos. Section 3. Destroying the victim mentality. Expose the silent poison that kills potential. The victim mindset. Explain how self-pity drains energy, blocks growth, and chains people to the past. Use psychology's concept of learned helplessness to illustrate how people teach themselves to lose. Then flip the perspective. Every obstacle is an opportunity to prove control. Show that winners never ask why me, but what can I do now? Guide the listener to reclaim power by taking radical responsibility. Emotionally lift them from helplessness to self-command. Section 4. Reprogramming self-talk. Reveal that the language we use with ourselves shapes everything. Explain how thoughts create emotions. Emotions create behavior, and behavior creates destiny. Introduce cognitive reframing, the process of turning fear into focus, doubt into drive. Use short rhythmic sentences to emphasize how daily affirmations and mental discipline rewire the subconscious. Build emotional tension by exposing how negative self-talk slowly destroys confidence. End with empowerment. If you want to win outside, you must first win inside. Section 5. The power of relentless focus. Explain that a winning mind lives in clarity, not confusion. Dive into the science of focus, how dopamine rewards direction and how distractions dilute willpower. Contrast the average mind's chaos with the elite mind's control. Emotionally charge the section with the image of a laser, calm, silent, and unstoppable. Teach that focus isn't about saying yes to everything, but about saying no to what doesn't matter. End by declaring, where focus goes, victory grows. Section 6. Building unshakable discipline. Expose the myth of motivation, that winners rely on it. Explain discipline as the ultimate form of self-love. Show how habits rewire identity and remove the need for emotional permission. Introduce psychological consistency loops when behavior reinforces belief. The more you keep promises to yourself, the stronger your self-trust becomes. End with emotional gravity. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you are meant to be. Section 7. Emotional mastery and calm control. Shift into emotional intelligence, the hidden weapon of champions. Explain how emotional triggers hijack decisions, destroy focus, and weaken willpower. Use neuroscience insights to show that calmness under chaos is trained through awareness. Describe how winners feel fear but don't obey it. They use emotion as energy, not an excuse. Inspire listeners to stop reacting and start responding. End with emotional depth. Master your emotions and you master your world. Section 8. Turning failure into fuel. Reframe failure as the highest form of feedback. Explain how the brain learns through mistakes, the feedback loop of growth. Contrast how losers fear failure, while winners study it. Bring emotional fire by reminding the audience that every success story is built on scars. Teach them to replace the question, what went wrong, with what did I learn? End powerfully. Failure doesn't define you, your response to it does. Section 9. Visualization and mental rehearsal. Reveal the science of visualization, how the mind can't distinguish between real and imagined success. Use sports psychology to show how champions win in their minds before they win in the world. Guide the listener to mentally rehearse discipline, courage, and victory daily. Describe how visualizing success wires the brain for certainty. End with a surge of belief. See it, feel it, repeat it, and soon you'll live it. Section 10. The energy of purpose. Teach that purpose gives the mind direction, meaning, and endurance. Explain how a clear why transforms struggle into significance. Use psychological research on intrinsic motivation to show that passion alone fades, but purpose fuels persistence. Inspire the audience to align every goal with something bigger than ego, contribution, growth, or legacy. End with conviction. When your purpose is strong enough, excuses disappear. Section 11. Becoming the architect of your mind. Bring every theme together: resilience, focus, emotional mastery, purpose, and show how they form the architecture of a winning mind. Reinforce that the mind is a tool, not a cage. The listener has the power to rebuild it every single day through conscious effort. End with a deep emotional climax, a call to action that echoes in silence. You are not your past. You are not your fears. You are the designer of your destiny. Build the mind that wins every time, and your life will follow. Have you ever wondered why some people rise no matter how many times they fall, while others stay stuck even when the opportunity is right in front of them? What separates those who win from those who wish? It's not luck. It's not talent. It's the mind, the invisible battlefield, where every victory is born or buried before it ever reaches the world outside. Every day, a silent war begins inside you. One voice tells you to push, to fight, to grow. The other whispers to stay comfortable, to wait for the perfect time, to protect your ego instead of your purpose. And that's where most people lose. Not because they can't win, but because they never take control of that inner war. The truth is, your external world is nothing more than a reflection of your internal command. If your mind surrenders to fear, your reality becomes small. If your mind obeys comfort, your potential stays hidden. But when your mind learns to dominate doubt, to silence hesitation, and to move forward even when it hurts, that's when life begins to bend in your favor. Winning starts long before anyone sees it. It begins in the dark corners of your mind, in those quiet moments when no one is watching and every excuse sounds reasonable. Most people think success is about timing, connections, or talent. But look closer. You'll see people with less talent, fewer opportunities, and more obstacles achieving extraordinary things. Why? Because they trained their minds to keep moving when others stop. They built mental armor against excuses. They learned to hear impossible and still act. That's the difference, not circumstance, but mental conditioning. A winning mind doesn't wait for permission. It decides, it acts, it adapts, and it never backs down from discomfort. You might not realize it yet, but you already have that power within you. It's not something you're missing. It's something buried beneath doubt, fear, and old conditioning. Society trains you to play it safe, to avoid failure, to seek validation. But a winning mind breaks that programming. It understands that growth is born from struggle. Every challenge you face is not a barrier. It's a test to measure how badly you want to win. And here's the truth most never hear. You don't need to have it all figured out to start winning. You just need to train your mind to keep showing up no matter what. Discipline over doubt, focus over fear, growth over comfort. Every choice builds your mental blueprint. Every moment you choose progress over excuses, your mind evolves from fragile to fierce. If you've ever felt lost, stuck, or invisible, understand this: nothing is wrong with you. You're simply fighting with an untrained mind. The potential is still there, waiting to be commanded, waiting to be unleashed, because when you finally learn to master your thoughts, your emotions, and your focus, the world starts responding differently. People notice your energy. Opportunities appear. Challenges shrink. You stop reacting to life and you start directing it. Stay with me, because by the end of this journey, you'll understand how to shape that inner power, how to train your thoughts to serve you instead of sabotage you, and how to create a mind that wins every time. No matter the odds, you are not meant to live small. You are meant to rise. And the first step begins with mastering the one thing that controls it all: your mind. Every mind that wins is built on one foundation: resilience, the unshakable ability to keep standing when everything inside you wants to fall. Resilience is not a gift. It's not something you're born with. It's something you forge through pressure, pain, and persistence. The strongest minds on earth were not shaped in comfort. They were formed in the fire of resistance. Every challenge that tried to break them only made them sharper, stronger, and more aware of what they were truly capable of. The reason most people give up isn't because they're weak. It's because they mistake pain for failure. They think discomfort means something's wrong, but discomfort is the birthplace of growth. Every time you face rejection, uncertainty, or doubt, your mind is given a choice: shrink back or rise up. Resilient people choose to rise. They understand that mental toughness is not about pretending to be fearless. It's about acting in spite of fear. It's about training your mind to interpret struggle as proof that you're evolving. Your brain is built to adapt. Science calls it neuroplasticity, the ability to rewire itself through repetition and challenge. Every time you push through something difficult, you literally change the structure of your brain. You become more capable of handling pressure, more confident under stress, more immune to negativity. That's how winners are built, not through luck, but through rewiring. The mind learns to see problems as puzzles to solve, not threats to escape. That's resilience, the psychological muscle that separates temporary effort from unstoppable progress. But to develop it, you must stop running from pain, stop avoiding failure, stop protecting your ego at the cost of your evolution. The mind becomes weak when you shield it from adversity. Strength only grows under resistance. Just like the body needs weight to build muscle, your mind needs struggle to build resilience. Every time life tests you, it's offering you a chance to level up. The pain you feel is not punishment. It's training. It's your mind stretching beyond its limits to prepare you for something greater. Winners don't ask for an easier path. They build a stronger mind. They don't wish for fewer problems. They develop better strategies. They don't crumble when things get hard. They adapt, adjust, and attack again. That's what resilience is. Emotional control in chaos. The ability to keep your focus steady when everything around you is shaking. The calm in the storm that refuses to surrender to panic or despair. You've been through enough to know that life won't always go your way, but resilience gives you the power to keep going even when it doesn't. It's the quiet inner voice that says, this is not the end, this is preparation. The moment you understand that every difficulty is a training ground, you stop breaking down and start breaking through. So don't curse your challenges. Don't resent your pain. Let it shape you. Let it harden your will and sharpen your focus, because every time you rise from something that was meant to destroy you, your mind learns it cannot be defeated. That's when you realize resilience is not just about surviving, it's about transforming. It's about walking through fire and coming out stronger, wiser, and unshakably certain that nothing outside you has the power to control what's within you. That's how a mind becomes unstoppable. That's how a mind begins to win. Every single time there's a silent force that destroys more dreams than failure ever could. The victim mentality. It's the quiet belief that life is happening to you, not for you. It's the voice that says, I can't because of them, it's not my fault, or life is unfair. And every time you feed that voice, your power dies a little more. You start handing your strength to circumstances, people, and excuses. You stop being the creator of your life and start becoming a passenger, drifting wherever your emotions take you. The truth is harsh but liberating. No one is coming to save you. No one owes you success, happiness, or peace. The world doesn't stop spinning for anyone's pain. The moment you accept that, everything changes. Responsibility becomes your weapon. Accountability becomes your freedom. When you stop blaming the world, you reclaim your control over it. That's when your mind shifts from victim to victor. Psychology calls this transformation locus of control. People with an external locus believe life controls them. People with an internal locus believe they control life. The difference between the two is massive. One feels powerless, the other feels unstoppable. The moment you decide that your response is stronger than your circumstances, you switch from powerless to powerful. You stop being reactive and start being intentional. That's when the world stops dictating your emotions and you begin shaping your destiny. Every time you blame, you give away energy that could have built your strength. Every time you complain, you feed the problem instead of the solution. The victim mind searches for comfort. The winning mind searches for control. It doesn't matter what's been done to you. What matters is what you do next, because no one can take your response away from you. That's your power. That's your freedom. You might have been hurt. You might have been betrayed, underestimated, or ignored. But the moment you stop letting those things define you, they lose all control. The world is full of people who carry pain but still rise. They've learned the secret. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can always control how you interpret it. Every experience can either make you bitter or build you. The difference lies in how you choose to think. Blame is the language of weakness. Responsibility is the language of warriors. The more you accept ownership of your emotions, your effort, and your outcomes, the stronger your mind becomes. You start thinking clearly, acting decisively, and moving forward regardless of how hard it gets. Responsibility doesn't weigh you down. It lifts you up. It turns chaos into order and confusion into direction. It gives you the clarity to see that life isn't happening against you, it's happening through you to shape you. The day you stop saying, why me, and start saying, try me, you become untouchable. You stop needing validation. You stop waiting for perfect conditions. You stop asking for fairness and start creating progress. Because a winning mind doesn't look for pity. It looks for purpose. It doesn't run from the struggle. It turns struggle into strength. So stop feeding the illusion that you're powerless. Stop waiting for someone to fix what you were born to rise above. Take back your mind. Take back your narrative. Take back your life. Because the world doesn't reward those who complain about their situation. It rewards those who take control, rewrite their story, and keep fighting until the outcome matches their vision. The moment you stop seeing yourself as a victim is the moment you start becoming unstoppable. The words you speak to yourself are the blueprint of your reality. Every thought, every sentence, every internal whisper either builds you or breaks you. Most people never realize that their greatest enemy isn't out there. It's the voice inside their own head. The mind believes what it hears the most. And if all it hears is self-doubt, fear, and limitation, it begins to obey those commands like unbreakable laws. You can't live a winning life with a losing dialogue. You can't build confidence with the language of defeat. Every time you tell yourself, I can't, your subconscious listens. Every time you say, I'm not enough, your brain adjusts to make it true. The science is simple. Your self-talk creates your emotional state. Your emotional state drives your actions, and your actions shape your destiny. What you consistently repeat becomes your identity. That's why winners guard their inner language like treasure. They know that the words they use inside define how they show up outside. Negative self-talk is not just harmless noise. It's mental programming. Each phrase becomes a neural pathway, strengthening the very thoughts that keep you small. But the beauty of the human mind is that it can be reprogrammed. You can rewrite your inner script at any moment. You can teach your brain new commands. Commands that build strength instead of fear, clarity instead of chaos, power instead of paralysis. Cognitive psychologists call it reframing. Shifting the meaning you give to your experiences so that your mind supports your goals instead of sabotaging them. When you change your inner words from I'm afraid to fail to I'm ready to learn, your entire body responds differently. Your energy changes. Your decisions sharpen. Your confidence grows. It's not magic. It's focus. What you focus on expands. A single empowering thought repeated daily can rewire your mind faster than years of self-criticism ever could. Because the subconscious doesn't argue with you. It accepts what you feed it and builds your behavior around it. If your inner dialogue is filled with blame, fear, and self-doubt, you'll always feel powerless. But if your inner dialogue is filled with strength, gratitude, and belief, you'll start walking through life with quiet certainty. You'll stop reacting to the world and start shaping it. The difference between an average mind and a winning one is self-command. Winners don't wait for motivation, they manufacture it with language. They tell themselves who they are until their actions prove it. You must become intentional with your self-talk. Stop calling yourself names when you fall short. Stop labeling yourself by your mistakes. Speak to yourself like someone you are responsible for building, not someone you are punishing. Tell yourself, I am learning, I am growing, I am becoming stronger every single day. Because when you speak life into your mind starts creating a life that matches those words. The conversation you have with yourself determines the direction of your life. Feed it doubt, and you'll find hesitation in every decision. Feed it belief, and you'll find courage where there once was fear. You can't win any battle if the voice inside you keeps surrendering first. Train your self-talk to work for you, not against you. Reprogram your mind to repeat strength, consistency, and possibility, because once you master the language of your mind, every part of your life begins to follow its command. A mind that wins knows how to focus, not on everything, but on what truly matters. The average mind is scattered, constantly pulled in 100 directions by noise, distraction, and endless comparison. It starts 1,000 things but finishes none. It reacts to everything but masters nothing. The winning mind operates differently. It understands that focus is power. When you learn to control where your attention goes, you gain control over where your life flows. The ability to focus is not just about concentration, it's about clarity. It's the discipline of filtering out everything that doesn't move you toward your purpose. Modern psychology calls it selective attention, your brain's power to prioritize what it believes is important. But here's the truth. If you don't train it, the world will. Every notification, every meaningless scroll, every distraction steals a piece of your direction until you wake up one day feeling lost, busy, but unfulfilled. A winning mind cuts through that noise with intention. It knows that energy follows attention. Wherever you place your focus, your effort and emotion will follow. The secret is learning to direct it deliberately, not emotionally. Most people focus on their problems. Winners focus on their progress. Most people focus on what's missing. Winners focus on what's possible. That single mental shift can redefine your entire life. Focus demands sacrifice. You can't chase every goal, please every person, or follow every impulse. To focus deeply, you must learn to say no, not because you don't care, but because you do. Every no protects your purpose. Every distraction you reject strengthens your direction. The greatest performers, athletes, and thinkers in history weren't the most talented. They were the most focused. They decided that their vision mattered more than their comfort, and they aligned every thought, action, and habit around it. Neuroscience shows that deep focus activates a state called flow, a mental zone where everything else disappears, and you become one with the task. Time fades, doubt silences, action feels effortless. That's when your potential unlocks. But to reach that level, you must train your brain like a muscle, eliminate noise, set clear intentions, protect your attention like oxygen. Because every second spent on distraction is a second stolen from greatness. Focus is not just what you pay attention to. It's what you refuse to entertain. A disciplined mind does not chase every emotion. It doesn't react to every challenge. It stays calm, centered, and directed. This kind of focus turns ordinary effort into unstoppable momentum. It transforms anxiety into action, chaos into clarity, and pressure into performance. Every time you get distracted, ask yourself one question. Is this moving me closer to the life I want or further away from it? The truth is simple. The more focused you become, the less resistance you feel. The mind thrives when it has a target. Without focus, it becomes restless, overthinking, and self-destructive. With focus, it becomes powerful, clear, and unstoppable. If you want to win, stop scattering your power. Choose one direction and pour everything into it. Guard your attention like your life depends on it, because it does. Your future is built from what you choose to focus on today. Train your mind to lock in, to filter noise, to stay on the mission. Because a focused mind doesn't just move forward, it dominates. Focus gives direction, but discipline gives power. Without discipline, focus fades. Without discipline, potential remains potential. The mind that wins understands this, that the greatest victories are born not from bursts of inspiration, but from consistency and silence. Discipline is the bridge between the dream you imagine and the reality you create. It is the quiet agreement between your present self and your future greatness. And it is the one quality that separates those who wish from those who win. Most people wait to feel ready. They wait for the perfect time, the right mood, the right motivation. But that moment never comes. Winners move anyway. They've learned the truth. Motivation is unreliable. It fades when life gets hard. Discipline doesn't. Discipline is action without permission. It is showing up when no one claps, pushing forward when no one sees, and finishing when you'd rather quit. It's doing what's required, not what's convenient. The psychology of discipline is simple. Repetition builds identity. Every time you follow through on a commitment, you teach your mind to trust itself. Every broken promise weakens the trust. The more you keep your word to yourself, the stronger your mental foundation becomes. You begin to identify as someone who doesn't negotiate with weakness, someone who acts even when it hurts, someone who is unstoppable. This identity, once formed, becomes your greatest weapon. Discipline is not punishment. It's self-respect. It's the realization that you deserve more than the comfort of laziness. Every small act of consistency rewires your brain's reward system. You begin to crave progress instead of pleasure. You stop chasing temporary highs and start chasing mastery. You stop needing motivation to move forward because your habits carry you even on the days your emotions don't. That's the beauty of discipline. It frees you from the prison of mood. There will be days your energy is low, your confidence shaken, your path unclear. Those are the moments that define you. Discipline whispers when motivation disappears. It says, I don't feel like it, but I'll do it anyway. And every time you listen to that voice, you strengthen your mental armor. You become immune to excuses. You start operating from purpose, not feelings. Discipline is the foundation of freedom. Most people think freedom means doing whatever you want, but true freedom is being in control of yourself. It's knowing you can rely on your mind to follow through no matter how heavy life feels. A disciplined person doesn't chase motivation, they command it. They don't depend on willpower, they design systems that guarantee progress. They don't wait for the path to be easy. They become strong enough to walk it anyway. Every great transformation begins with one decision: to stop negotiating with weakness, to stop allowing temporary emotions to dictate permanent results. Discipline doesn't demand perfection, it demands persistence. Every repetition counts. Every choice builds momentum. Every action is a brick in the foundation of your future. The mind that wins doesn't seek comfort. It seeks growth. It doesn't chase pleasure. It chases purpose. Discipline turns potential into power, ideas into impact, and effort into excellence. When you master it, you stop needing external validation. You stop waiting for the world to push you forward. You become self-propelled, driven by something deeper, unshakable, and real, because once discipline becomes your default, success becomes inevitable. Discipline sharpens action, but emotional mastery protects it. Without control over your emotions, even the strongest discipline can collapse under pressure. The mind that wins does not fight emotion. It understands it, channels it, and directs it with precision. Every person feels fear, anger, and doubt. What separates the powerful from the powerless is how they respond. Emotional mastery is not about suppressing what you feel. It's about regulating what you allow to rule you. Your emotions are signals, not dictators. They are designed to guide, not govern. The problem begins when you start treating temporary feelings as permanent truths. When fear whispers you can't and you obey, you surrender your potential. When frustration tells you to quit and you listen, you break your momentum. The winning mind observes emotion without submission. It feels, but it does not fold. It uses emotion as energy, not as an excuse. Neuroscience shows that emotions originate in the limbic system, the oldest part of the brain, and that reason, located in the prefrontal cortex, has the power to override it. That means every time you pause before reacting, you strengthen your control. You reclaim the throne of your mind from impulses and reactivity. You shift from chaos to clarity. The more often you practice this, the calmer and more confident you become under pressure. Emotional mastery is not built through comfort, but through conscious awareness. Calmness is a superpower in a world where everyone reacts. The person who can remain composed gains control. Emotional stability is strength disguised as silence. It doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you choose your response. You stop letting anger waste your focus. You stop letting fear freeze your progress. You stop letting doubt cloud your direction. Every emotional trigger becomes an opportunity to train your mind. The reason many people never reach greatness is not because they lack talent, but because they let emotions hijack their potential. They react to rejection with bitterness instead of resilience. They let anxiety dictate their performance. They allow frustration to turn into self-sabotage. The winning mind flips the pattern. It turns fear into focus. It turns pain into persistence. It turns pressure into performance. This kind of control doesn't happen overnight. It's trained through awareness, reflection, and repetition. Every time you resist the urge to react, you strengthen your self-command. Every time you choose to pause instead of explode, you build emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize your feelings and still move with purpose. This is how the mind matures into mastery. When you learn to control your emotions, you become dangerous in the best way. You can't be manipulated by chaos. You can't be provoked into weakness. You stop being reactive and start being strategic. Your calm presence becomes power. People feel it. Challenges shrink before it. You move through adversity with quiet certainty, knowing that no emotion can overpower a mind trained in control. The truth is, emotional mastery doesn't mean you feel less. It means you feel deeply, but decide wisely. It's the art of responding with strength, not reacting with weakness. It's the discipline of staying centered when the world shakes, because when your emotions no longer dictate your direction, your potential has no limits. A mind that can stay calm in chaos, focused in fear, and composed in conflict. That's a mind that wins every single time. True power begins when you stop being ruled by circumstances and start being governed by principles. When your reactions no longer depend on what happens around you, but on what you decide within you. That's when you reach a state of inner dominance. The world can shake, people can disappoint, plans can collapse, but your center remains unbroken. That's the mark of someone who has mastered the art of mental sovereignty. Nothing external holds power over the mind that has chosen control. Every person is tested by chaos. The difference lies in how they interpret it. Most see chaos as destruction. The wise see it as direction. They understand that life is not designed to comfort you. It's designed to build you. Every challenge that unsettles your emotions is also sharpening your awareness. Every delay that frustrates your progress is strengthening your patience. Every loss that stings your heart is expanding your capacity to endure. Emotional mastery transforms pain into preparation. It's not suppression, it's elevation. You grow when you refuse to let temporary emotions define permanent outcomes. You evolve when you stop chasing validation and start building value from within. The strongest people aren't those who never feel pain. They're the ones who learn to remain peaceful inside it. They've discovered that silence is not weakness, it's control. That restraint is not cowardice, it's wisdom. They've realized that not every battle deserves energy, not every criticism deserves attention, and not every emotion deserves expression. When you stop feeding negative emotions, they starve. When you stop reacting to distractions, they disappear. The mind becomes lighter, sharper, and freer. You begin to operate from vision, not from reaction. You start making decisions not based on how you feel in the moment, but on who you want to become in the long run. That's when power becomes permanent, because emotions fluctuate, but principles endure. The mind built on emotion wavers with every storm. The mind built on principle stands through every season. You cannot rise above the level of your emotional discipline. If your feelings control you, your future belongs to chance. If your focus controls you, your future belongs to choice. That's why mastery begins internally, by building consistency in thought, precision in reaction, and patience in action. When the mind stops fluctuating between doubt and confidence, between fear and faith, success stops being unpredictable and starts being inevitable. Self-control is not about restriction, it's about redirection. It's choosing to channel every emotion into something constructive. Anger becomes drive, fear becomes alertness, sadness becomes reflection. You stop wasting your emotional energy and start investing it. That's the psychological shift that turns chaos into clarity. The stronger your self-command, the less the world can disturb you. The mind trained in emotional mastery doesn't need constant motivation. It runs on purpose. It doesn't chase recognition. It moves from conviction. It doesn't need approval. It breathes certainty. That's the state where success becomes not just something you achieve, but something you attract through your energy, your focus, and your unshakable inner calm. Because the person who controls their emotions controls their world. They act, not react. They lead, not follow. And they rise not because life is easy, but because they've learned that true power isn't in what happens. It's in how you handle what happens. A winning mind is not built in moments of comfort. It's forged in the heat of resistance. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you're building mental armor. Every time you silence the noise of doubt and take one more step forward, you're hardening your focus. Strength doesn't appear overnight. It grows through the quiet repetitions of self-control, consistency, and clarity. The mind that wins every time is the one that never stops refining itself, even when no one is watching. You must understand that your mind adapts to what you feed it. If you feed it excuses, it grows weaker. If you feed it vision, it grows unstoppable. Your thoughts are not random. They're training sessions. Every negative thought left unchallenged becomes a mental habit, and every mental habit becomes a behavioral destiny. That's why awareness is everything. The moment you start observing your thoughts instead of obeying them, you reclaim power. You start directing your energy instead of being drained by it. You stop reacting impulsively and start responding intelligently. The battle is always internal. It's not against people, competition, or circumstances. It's between your higher potential and your lower impulses. The voice that says, I can, and the voice that says, I can't, both live inside you, and whichever one you feed becomes your future. The mind that wins learns to identify the difference between emotion and direction. It knows that the voice of fear disguises itself as logic. It knows that the voice of doubt often sounds like reason, but real intelligence is not found in overthinking. It's found in trusting the right thoughts and ignoring the wrong ones. Consistency is the real power. The average person works in bursts of motivation, but the winner works from rhythm. Motivation gets you started, but rhythm keeps you going. It's the quiet pattern of small, decisive actions that create unstoppable momentum. When your actions are aligned with purpose, you no longer chase success. It follows your consistency. The mind begins to expect progress, not hope for it. That's when your habits take over and success becomes a default state, not an occasional event. Mental strength is not the absence of weakness. It's the mastery of recovery. Winners fall too, but they never stay down. They reframe failure as feedback, setbacks as signals, and obstacles as opportunities. Their mental dialogue never becomes self-destruction. It becomes self-direction. They ask, what is this teaching me? Instead of, why is this happening to me? That single shift transforms struggle into strategy. Every time you rise after being knocked down, your subconscious learns resilience. Every time you persist despite fear, your brain rewires for courage. That's neuroscience, not wishful thinking. The mind adapts to repetition. It becomes what it practices. So if you keep practicing focus, calm, and confidence, you eventually become those qualities. You embody victory before it arrives. And that's the secret. The mind that wins doesn't wait to feel strong. It decides to be strong. It acts from conviction, not comfort. It chooses forward motion even when standing still feels easier, because winning isn't an event. It's a pattern, a discipline, a mental code that says, no matter what happens outside me, I will always choose mastery inside me. When that code becomes your identity, you no longer chase success, you embody it. You stop competing with others and start competing with who you were yesterday. And from that place, every moment becomes a victory because your mind has already decided it will never lose again. The mind that wins understands one truth that changes everything. Focus is freedom. When your attention is scattered, your energy leaks. When your thoughts chase everything, you achieve nothing. But when your mind learns to lock onto a single direction, distractions lose their power. You start moving with precision, not confusion. The noise of the world fades and your path becomes clear. The greatest victories are not won by strength, they are won by focus. Because focus turns effort into impact and intention into results. Every moment you give your attention to doubt, comparison, or worry, you trade a piece of your power. The world is full of people who could have achieved greatness but never learned to control their focus. They let their minds wander into fear. They let temporary emotions dictate permanent choices. They let outside opinions poison their inner voice. But those who rise above all that understand that focus is not something you find, it's something you build. It's an act of defiance against distraction. It's choosing what deserves your energy and what doesn't. You can't win if your mind is split between where you are and where you wish you were. Progress demands presence. Every ounce of power you have exists in the present moment, not in regret, not in worry, but right here. The mind that wins lives fully where its feet stand. It doesn't waste thought on what can't be changed. It channels everything into what can be created. That's how average becomes exceptional. Not by trying harder, but by focusing sharper. The ability to focus deeply is what separates the great from the good. It's not that they have more time, it's that they waste less of it. It's not that they never get distracted, it's that they return to focus faster than anyone else. That's the real secret, not perfection, but recovery. Every time your attention drifts and you pull it back, you're strengthening your mental muscle. Every time you say no to distraction, you're saying yes to mastery. That's the kind of discipline that compounds quietly until it explodes publicly. Focus is also a form of self-respect. It's declaring that your dreams are worth more than temporary pleasure. It's saying, I choose what matters most even when it's hard, because every distraction is a test of how much your goal truly means to you. The mind that wins treats focus as sacred. It protects it from negativity, gossip, drama, and digital noise. It knows that every second spent on the meaningless is a second stolen from greatness. And once you truly value your time, you stop giving it away to things that drain your purpose. When you master focus, you enter a state of flow where time disappears, self-doubt fades, and you move effortlessly toward your vision. That's when the mind stops fighting itself and starts working as one unified force. That's when confidence feels natural, not forced. When purpose feels peaceful, not pressured, because focus aligns all your energy in one direction, and alignment is power. Distraction weakens the average. Focus strengthens the extraordinary. The mind that wins is not the loudest. It's the most disciplined. It doesn't get lost in the noise. It listens only to the call of purpose. It doesn't chase everything. It commits to one thing until it becomes unstoppable. Because true mastery doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing less with absolute clarity until excellence becomes your identity. The mind that wins does not run from challenges. It welcomes them. It sees resistance not as a wall, but as a mirror reflecting how badly you want what you say you want. Every obstacle is a silent question. Will you stop here or will you rise higher? Most people retreat when things get hard, but the few who win understand that difficulty is not punishment, it's preparation. The struggle you face today is not meant to break you, it's meant to awaken strength that comfort kept asleep. Growth never feels comfortable. Transformation never feels easy. The moments that stretch you are the moments that shape you. When your plans fall apart, when your patience is tested, when everything seems to slow down, that's life asking if your commitment is real. It's asking if your vision is strong enough to survive pressure, and if you refuse to quit, if you keep moving with belief even when progress feels invisible. You begin to develop a kind of unshakable confidence that no failure can erase. Winners aren't those who never struggle, they're those who refuse to let struggle define them. They understand that pain is not the enemy. Surrender is. The discomfort you feel while growing is the exact proof that your limits are expanding. Every setback is fuel. Every rejection is redirection. Every doubt you face and overcome becomes a brick in the fortress of your resilience. That's how mental toughness is born, not from avoiding pain, but from mastering it. There's a point in every journey where motivation fades, results stall, and everything feels uncertain. That's the breaking point. But for the mind that wins, that's the turning point, because winners understand that persistence is not just doing more, it's believing deeper, it's showing up with conviction when the evidence of success hasn't appeared yet. It's trusting the process when logic says to stop. That's what separates the unstoppable from the ordinary, the ability to keep going without external proof that it's working. Mental endurance is a choice. It's deciding that you will not be broken by pressure, but sharpened by it. It's knowing that every moment of fatigue is an opportunity to teach your mind that comfort is not your master. The stronger your relationship with discomfort, the stronger your control over destiny. Because success doesn't come to those who wait for easier conditions. It comes to those who build strength within hard ones. You win every time you choose discipline over doubt. You win every time you act with purpose instead of emotion. You win every time you refuse to let the temporary pain of effort outweigh the permanent regret of quitting. Each small victory against resistance rewires your brain to expect success. The more you endure, the less fear owns you. The more you face difficulty head on, the more unstoppable you become. There's nothing more powerful than a human being who has learned to find peace in the middle of pressure, because that's when nothing can control you. Not fear, not failure, not frustration. You stop fighting the storm and start becoming the calm inside it. And that calm is your power. That calm is your edge. It's the quiet force that says, no matter what stands in front of me, I am already stronger within. The mind that wins is not fueled by motivation. It's powered by purpose. Motivation fades with moods, but purpose burns through every storm. Purpose gives meaning to struggle, direction to discipline, and courage to action. When you are clear on why you do what you do, obstacles stop feeling like punishment and start feeling like progress. Purpose turns every difficulty into direction. It transforms ordinary effort into unstoppable momentum. You can't build a strong mind without a strong reason. The mind must know what it's fighting for. When your why is shallow, you break easily, but when it's deep, when it's rooted in something sacred to your soul, nothing can shake you. The noise of doubt loses its voice. The temptation to quit loses its grip. You stop chasing validation because you're driven by conviction, and conviction doesn't need applause, it needs alignment. A purpose-driven mind doesn't ask, how long will this take? It asks, how far can I go? It doesn't count failures. It studies them. It doesn't complain about pressure. It trains under it. Purpose eliminates hesitation because it gives pain a reason. It allows you to push through exhaustion because you're not working for comfort. You're working for meaning. When the goal is just success, fatigue wins. When the goal is impact, resilience wins. Purpose brings clarity, and clarity simplifies life. You stop trying to be everything. You start becoming exactly what you're meant to be. You no longer chase what others want. You create what you were called to create. You stop measuring your journey by comparison and start measuring it by contribution. That's the shift that transforms anxiety into focus. You begin to operate from a place of fulfillment, not frustration. The power of purpose lies in its ability to align your emotions, your energy, and your effort. It pulls everything inside you toward one direction. It silences confusion. It reduces distraction. It creates harmony between thought and action. When purpose becomes your compass, decision-making becomes effortless. You no longer waste time debating what's right. You simply follow what resonates deeply with your truth. Without purpose, life becomes a chase for comfort. With purpose, life becomes a mission for growth. The difference between those who achieve greatness and those who don't is rarely talent, it's clarity. The ones who win know exactly why they're doing what they're doing. That clarity becomes armor when things get difficult. It reminds them that temporary struggle can't outweigh eternal meaning. Every great mind that has ever achieved anything extraordinary was anchored in purpose, not luck, not chance, purpose, because purpose builds a kind of confidence that doesn't come from results. It comes from alignment. You stop asking, will this work, and start declaring, I'll make this work. That shift changes everything. When you live with purpose, every moment has weight, every choice matters, every action carries intention. You stop drifting, you start directing, you stop existing, you start living, because the mind that wins doesn't move randomly, it moves with meaning. And when every step is guided by something greater than yourself, success becomes not just possible, but inevitable.